My dearest darling wife, how are the kids? It's the year 1942 and there's a world war going on outside. The news has been calling it Apple vs Samsung, whatever that means. It's basically the fanboys in the north versus the fanboys in the south, with no end in sight. We've been rationed for months, with only bacon for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Most have complained, but I think it's one thing to look forward to with not much else. You know how much I love bacon. Anyways, I found this crazy device I'm writing to on now, but no one else knows. I fear it might be from the Apple spies, or worse, some kind of alien technology. It seems to have something called Android and true multitasking, which the North is trying to get their hands on. Here, let's see if the conditions have changed.
As a result of the outbreak, your city or
Oh, I think I hear someone coming. I need to go. If this is my last letter, please like and subscribe to always remember me. Love, Jake Bacon Digital. In Bacon, we trust.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then you start a little war. Same way.
Yo guys, Jake Bacon here, and Android tablet fans have been praying for a savior for years now. A tablet as good as the iPad Pro for Android fans. And this is what we got. The Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus. So, is this a tablet Android fans have been painfully yearning for? Let's find out. If all we are talking about is specs, then yeah, this thing definitely competes with the iPad Pro and in some cases beats it. It has one of, if not the best screen in the game. It's gorgeous. And you have one of, if not the best judgment in the game because you decided to subscribe for more content like this, massage that like button until it starts to sizzle, and ring the bell for that sweet, sweet smell of bacon in your inbox. So the Galaxy Tab S7 Plus is packed up to the gills with a 12.4-inch 120Hz Super AMOLED display, Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 Plus, it's a beast, 10,090 mAh battery, it'll last all day, that's what she said, 8GB of RAM and 512GB of storage, 2 cameras, a 5MP ultra wide and 13MP wide angle, 4K 30fps video, micro SD card slot, USB-C, and of course, the S Pen, which actually comes with it instead of having to buy one separately. Big ups for that. So yes, on paper, it's great, but how does this all translate into real-world use? Pretty good, but there's definitely still some quirks and issues. The main reason I bought this tablet was probably the same reasons that most of you guys are considering this tablet as well. Because I wanted something portable that I could still get light multitasking work done, but have a different view than constantly sitting at my desk. Yes, I could do this with a laptop, but this has the convenience of having apps. The S Pen is amazing now, which we will get into, and it's cheaper than a lot of the laptops that have the same performance and screen as good as this is. Plus, it has great mobile gaming performance, and Xbox Game Pass on it is sick. If I want to play any super intensive games, then I'll just use my custom built PC for that. Now, how to get this tablet and the price has been a weird one. Some areas got it early, some got the tablet with the keyboard cover for free, some have all the different configurations from the 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage model to the 8GB of RAM and 512GB of storage model, plus 5G connectivity, and some only got one of those configurations or no 5G. In fact, all that was offered for me for the 5G model was the 128GB model, but I wanted 8GB of RAM, which by the way only comes in the model with the 256GB of storage or more, and I wanted to at least have 256GB of storage. So I had to go with the Wi-Fi model. Kind of a confusing mess. With all that said though, it pretty much ranges in price from $649.99 for the 128GB Wi-Fi Tab S7 model to $1,049.99 with variances in between. So it's not a cheap tablet by any means, which means most of us considering this are gonna be using it for something other than just basic YouTube watching and internet browsing. I mean, unless of course you just have unlimited money and don't care, but I think that's not most of us. And if it actually wants to compete with the iPad Pro, it has to do those extras well, especially multitasking and light workloads in my opinion. And that is just a mixed bag for me. One of the main issues being the keyboard, which I just did a review on the book cover keyboard specifically and why I'm pretty disappointed with it, which you can check out here. In theory, the multitasking is great and the implementation of it, especially with DeX Mode, is awesome. But there are some quirks that really take you out of the experience. The typical way to use multitasking, not in DeX mode, is to swipe from the edge side panel and then you can drag in the app that you want to use and position it where you want. You can also click this top middle bar right here on recent apps to choose if you want to open it in multitasking mode, and then you can set up to 3 different apps and save them as an app group on the edge panel to easily come back to them later. If you want a 4th app, you can actually open one more app in windowed mode. The problem is it's kind of clunky. Let's use the edge panel. We first open one app, say YouTube. This will open in full screen. Now, if you want to open another app, you can swipe from the edge panel again and then click and drag an app in, or since all apps are not supported, you can click this menu icon at the bottom to see all apps that can be opened in multi-windowed mode. So just pick one. From here, you can click these 3 dots in the middle to drag and resize or swap the apps around or change from being side by side or on top and bottom. Now let's add a 3rd app. If you click this button here, then you can actually save this as a preset on the edge panel. This is great, but the main issue I have with it is if you just want to open recent apps to just go to a different single app and then go back to your multi-apps layout view, you can't. Well, you kind of can. Your last multi-app layout will be saved as the most recents on the edge panel, but this doesn't always stay there, so it gets frustrating when you just want to go to a single app and come back to your layout later. There also should just be an easier way to switch to a different app once you are multitasking. For instance, if I want to change this bottom app, there is no button to just quickly change to another app. I can open the edge panel and bring one in from there again, or if I go to recent apps, I can pick one of the most recent apps. But this also only changes the bottom app and not the top. There really should just be an option when you click on the 3 dots in between the apps to open your apps and also pick if you want to change the top or the bottom app, etc. To me, it's just kind of clunky and not intuitive. There's multiple ways to multitask, but none of them are a full-baked experience. But with that said, it is one of the best implementations on a tablet at this point, and I use it every day. And hopefully it will just improve over time with software updates. Another really useful feature is being able to open browser windows side by side. However, unfortunately, this is only available if you use Samsung's browser, which is actually decent, but I'm still trying to find a good way to sync my favorites and settings across that and my PC. You can get your notifications from your phone onto this tablet, but not if you have a Verizon phone. This is something not shown anywhere where this feature is advertised as far as I can tell, so I just thought I could let you guys know so you aren't as disappointed as I am. The Your Phone app doesn't work either because it's not supported on this device for some reason. I get that it is more geared towards connecting your phone to your PC, which actually works great by the way, or tablet apps to your PC, but I feel like connecting your phone to the tablet via the app would actually be a viable option as well. Okay, if we open up DeX mode, multitasking gets even cooler, with being basically a Windows desktop-like experience with apps opening up in, well, Windows. You get a taskbar at the bottom which you can pin apps to just like Windows, a notification center, and app center. And each app opens in a window which you can snap side to side, but unfortunately I haven't found a way to snap an arrangement of 3 apps or more like you can in regular mode, without manually resizing them. If I am missing something and you know how to do this, let me know down in the comments. Also, when you resize apps to the top of the screen, it doesn't automatically resize them vertically like it does in Windows. So this can get frustrating because the app then just goes below the taskbar, unless again, you resize them manually. Now I think that multitasking goes hand in hand with getting real work done, and that actually goes hand in hand with having a keyboard. I'm going to keep this short because I have a whole video about the keyboard here, and I'll link it in the description right below the like button. But long story short, the switches and the typing experience do feel nice on it, and the trackpad, it's a decent size with gesture controls, which is awesome, but there's no backlight and it has a lot of little issues that make it a big headache to use, and it's not worth a $229 price tag. And I know Apple Magic's keyboard is even more expensive, but in my opinion, it's better. It is heavier, but for me, in my use case, I'd love it if there was a heavier, really good keyboard option that I could use most of the time, and then if I wanted something lighter, I could just plop on the book cover keyboard. But not for $229. But luckily, Samsung does give you guys a lot of deals, so definitely try to check those out. These may or may not be issues for you, so definitely check out my video before purchasing and make your own decision. But let's get into some of the great stuff with this tablet, that being media consumption with that gorgeous screen, gaming, and the S Pen. Watching YouTube and Netflix on this are an amazing experience, and the support of HDR10 Plus makes watching Netflix something you really just need to experience for yourself. There's actually 4 speakers around the device. They get decently loud, but for having 4 speakers, it's not that much louder than my phone, the Galaxy Fold 2. But it does have more bass and fullness. Gaming is a blast in this thing, guys, and with a 12.4-inch AMOLED 120Hz display, you're gonna love it. And I'll love you if you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, make sure to go and follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I have a lot of setup pictures and some other cool stuff there, and I really love talking with you guys. Now at this point, there's about 160 plus games that support 120 Hz, so you should be able to find something that you like, and everything runs super smoothly. And I haven't noticed any performance drops. I've been mostly playing Call of Duty Mobile, but unfortunately they haven't enabled 90 Hz or above on every device yet. If you're into retro games and emulation, this thing handles that wonderfully. And if you can get a good deal on it, the Moga XP5X controller is pretty nice, but despite its Xbox branding, it is not supported in Call of Duty Mobile. You will need an actual Xbox or PlayStation controller. I've also been loving cloud gaming on this thing, such as with Xbox Game Pass on here. I mean, gotta get my Halo fix in, right? But you can also use Stadia or really any cloud gaming service. Now the S Pen is just absolutely fantastic this time around. That 9 milliseconds response time just really gets you there, and the bigger size is better as well. I've always enjoyed the size of the Apple Pencil, and this is a happy medium. But putting the S Pen back in its spot is a pain in the rear. You have to orientate it a specific way or it won't charge. Luckily though, you don't need it to be charged for normal use, just for gesture controls. The book cover keyboard though does help with this by adding a nice slot for the S Pen. I'm not really a drawer, so if that's important to you, you're gonna have to actually check out another review for an artist perspective, but writing notes or using it to edit pictures in Lightroom or things like that, there's nothing to complain about. Now, I think app experience is one of the things that most people like to shout about when saying that the iPad Pro is so much better than the Android tablets. And while that may be true, most of the apps most of us use look great on here, and the iPad Pro has the same limitations that this does with some of them. YouTube looks great. Twitter, you can actually download the PWA app through your browser. Then you'll get a nice little icon that you can open just like any other app, and you get the full experience. Instagram will open in landscape mode, but you have the same issue on iPad. But the difference is because this is Android, on the Tab S7 and the S7 Plus, you can actually download something called Good Lock in the Galaxy App Store and set the orientation of whatever app you want. So then Instagram will work in landscape mode. You can even force most apps to work in multi-window view. I don't think you can do this with the iPad. Lightroom on here is great, but I will say that being able to use Photoshop on the iPad app is amazing, so I really hope it eventually comes to Android. And now we can run benchmarks all day between this and the iPad Pro, but it really matters what it feels like to use. Performance-wise, they both feel snappy and smooth, and I don't think anyone will have any performance complaints. I think multitasking on the Tab S7 Plus is slightly better, and you can do things like play emulators, which the iPad is much more locked down. But if you need specific apps like professional apps like Photoshop, then you're gonna need an iPad. Hopefully we will get those eventually though. All right, so is this the savior that Android users have needed, and is it worth the price? Well, for me, this suffers from the same issues that the iPad Pro does. It's powerful enough to be a productivity and multitasking beast, but it has certain limitations that, in practicality, make it cumbersome to use sometimes. The S Pen and mobile gaming experience is as good as anything out there, and if a tablet is what you are specifically looking for, then yes, I think it's worth it. Apps do need some optimization, and I really hope that they will eventually get there, but Samsung has been running a lot of deals on this, especially if you get accessories for the device, and offers several discounts like student discounts and military discounts, so definitely check those out. Also, I'll link where to pick up this tablet in the description, along with where you can actually get this amazing office chair I'm sitting on, and basically my full setup. Also, if you want to know where I get the music and all of my sound effects for my videos, make sure to click on the link for Epidemic Sound, and you can actually get a free 30-day trial. Alright, if you like this video, go ahead and like it. It really helps me out the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe for more, and always remember, in bacon we trust. Peace.